Most people take for granted our daily use of type without giving a thought to its origin. But the evolution of typographic development and its use still impacts and plays an important role in these modern times. Mass production of the written word goes back millennia with the use of dies, punches, seals, and even currency to standardize communication and commerce. The first movable form of type was created in China in the 11th century using ceramic materials. Just a short time later, metal type was being used in Korea. The thousands of characters in these Eastern languages made the printing process a labor-intensive endeavor. In the West, with a far more manageable character set, Johannes Gutenberg created the first mass-produced book, the Gutenberg Bible. Movable type led the way for the Renaissance and later the Reformation. Most graphic artists are familiar with the history of lettering and how the written word enjoyed an evolution from the hand of master scribes to the present-day craft and art form it is today. Thanks to Gutenberg, joining that transformation of the handwritten form was what we now refer to as typographic design. Like much of that Renaissance period, Enlightenment and the pursuit of excellence in beauty and form influenced the written word. Style, with regard to type, began its own transformation. The difficult-to-read black letter forms in Gutenberg's work gave way to the need for more utilitarian, easy-to-read typeface designs. By the 1470s, people like the French artist Nicolas Jensen, working out of Venice, Italy, began creating highly legible typographic forms. He was the first to create a Roman face that was based on humanistic characteristics. The beauty of his work is to this day considered one of the greatest typographic masterpieces. Soon, others followed. Today, Baskerville, Bodoni, Caslon, Garamond, and later, Bengat, Gill, Lubalin, and Zoff, and many others are all considered household names in the world of typography. As the centuries passed, printing became a viable industry, and typesetting, the use of movable type, transformed the page, and the page transformed the world. Literature had become available to the common soul, and a thirst for knowledge brought about by this new age of enlightenment could only be quenched by the typeset page. With the Industrial Revolution came the mechanization of industry that created a greater need for printed material. World events prompted the necessity for better and faster communication, and now with centuries of experience to draw upon, the printing process produced high-quality publications for the masses. Soon, competing for the attention of patrons, new ways to draw attention to printed material created a new kind of industry, advertising. With advertising as the engine, exciting new type designs emerged. This revolution in creativity was not limited to the printed page. By the late 1800s, printers sought ways to make the process of setting type less cumbersome. Otmar Mergenthaler, a German immigrant to the U.S., developed a machine that would cast a hot lead alloy of metal into lines of type. Once used, these metal slugs, as they were called, could then be melted down to be used again. His new invention, the Mergenthaler linotype, went on to dominate the typesetting industry throughout most of the 20th century. There were other innovations from inventors like Talbert Lanceton. In 1895, he created an automated two-machine mechanical composing process called the monotype system. The operator used a keyboard that prepared a punched paper tape called a ribbon. This coated ribbon was then used to direct the hot metal casting to create the typeset text. Linotype monotype, and a few other automated typesetting systems were used by most of the large publishing houses and newspapers. The second half of the 20th century saw quick advances in both the printing process and typographic technology. Offset lithography was a standard, and photo typesetting was replacing mechanical hot press type. By the 1960s, this cold press type, as it came to be known, shared more and more of the duties of providing camera-ready graphics for lithographic printers. Aided by computer technology, metal type was now a thing of the past. Photo typesetting was now being driven by the computer age, and by the mid-1980s, the typographic industry was once again preparing for a technological transformation. Meanwhile, the colorful 60s and 70s brought a typographic renaissance of sorts. Commercial artists had access to typography from various sources. The style trends ranged from fun to sometimes funky, often clunky, reflecting the free spirit of the times. Classic type and lettering was traded in for modern new looks. The marketplace made sure that type design could now be found on everything. Enter the personal computer. As advances in technology gave us easier access to the use of information, this new digital age was changing the printing and typographic industries. Photo typesetting, like its predecessor, was now a thing of the past. Graphic software made it possible for film to be digitally created without the need for camera-ready art. Fonts, the new term for typefaces, were becoming more and more abundant. By the late 1990s, font development software had become affordable for the experienced graphic designer. Using a scanner, the artist's own hand lettering could quickly be digitized and converted to a font. Those with experience in lettering were being sought after to infuse a new look to typographic design. Lettering artists like Jill Bell, Jovica Veljovic, Richard Lipton, Phil Grimshaw, and others were creating designs that looked more like hand lettering and less like traditional type. The large type houses had once again successfully made a transition from selling equipment to distributing software, fonts. After more than a century of success, Linotype and Monotype now had competition. In the mix, Bitstream, Font Bureau, and P22 were adding their own flavors to the industry. These web-based businesses to this day offer libraries of fonts ranging from the historical classics to less traditional styles. Today, the trend toward new creative font designs is stronger than ever. As advances in software continue, artists have powerful tools at their disposal. Fonts created with OpenType programming allow the user to have endless design possibilities. And with the internet now a vital part of world commerce, web font technology is enhancing the World Wide Web experience. With the written word as the means of communicating ideas, it is likely that type design will continue to thrive. Though the means of conveying those ideas are ever evolving, remnants of that Renaissance age are with us in terminology we still use today. Uppercase, lowercase, leading, kerning, all have meaning that originated in an era past, but will remain in the vocabulary that is the world of type.